Julius the Dr. Erving, one of the all-time greats of NBA history. But just how great? Dr. J had an incredible flair and style to his game, reminiscent of the more recent Michael Jordan. He spent many of his prime years dominating a league that no longer exists, which was the ABA, before he eventually joined the Philadelphia 76ers upon the NBA's merger in 1976. When we reflect on the NBA's history, sometimes the Doctor gets overlooked, or at least doesn't get the credit he deserves, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that his best days were in the 70s and early 80s, before the game of basketball truly rose to its highest levels of popularity. So although that's understandable, we're certainly not going to let him get shortchanged on our watch. Let's take a deeper look into the greatness of Julius Erving. The 1971-72 season was Dr. J's rookie year for the Virginia Squires, and as a 21-year-old with his incredible athleticism, leaping ability, and skill at finishing around the rim, he was an MVP candidate immediately, averaging 27.3 points, 15.7 rebounds, and 4 assists on 50% from the field. He also played in all 84 games that season. He was an All-Star upon entering the ABA and went on to be an All-Star every single year of his career in both the ABA and the NBA. In his second season of the ABA, he continued his dominance, scoring nearly 32 points per game while pulling down over 12 boards a game. From that point on, he never looked back. Dr. J won the ABA MVP award for the next 3 seasons straight, and his New York Nets won the ABA championship 2 of those next 3 seasons. He also won the 1976 ABA dunk contest with one of the most iconic dunks of basketball history. For those of you who want to criticize older athletes of years past because of the perceived lack of athleticism, let's remember that Dr. J was dunking from the free throw line before Kobe Bryant and LeBron James were even born. Dr. J wrapped up his ABA career with a resume strong enough to definitively make him the greatest ABA player of all time. During his ABA career, he averaged 28.7 points, 12.1 rebounds, and 4.8 assists on 50.4% shooting. On top of all of that, consider the fact that Julius accomplished all of this before he turned 27 years old. Now with that being said, I know what a lot of you guys are probably thinking. Yes, this was the ABA in the 1970s that we're talking about, a league with only 10 teams and a league that was represented by less than half of the world's best basketball talent. So it's important to take all of Dr. J's success in that league with a grain of salt. I get that. That's what made his leap into the NBA in 1976 so pivotal. With the fusion of the ABA and the NBA, the level of competition in the league grew, and we were able to see how that impacted Dr. J's numbers and his career overall, especially when you consider the fact that Dr. J was making this move right in the prime age of his career. If you take a close look at the career averages of Dr. J, you'll see that those averages did dip a bit upon his arrival to the NBA, but context is extremely necessary to understand the situation. In Erving's days in the ABA, he was the anchor of the team's success, and he was a workhorse who was ultimately the difference in whether or not his team won games. During his ABA career, Julius was averaging a giant load of over 40 minutes per game. When Dr. J joined the 76ers, he was joining an extremely talented 76ers roster that was expected to win a lot more games. Load management was in effect for the Doctor, and he played an average of 35 minutes per game for his career in the NBA. Naturally, a decrease of 5 minutes per game is going to decrease your points, rebounds, and assist averages. Another contributing factor was the fact that he was joining fellow superstar George McGinnis on the 76ers. George was a power forward who was actually the ABA MVP just 2 years prior, averaging nearly 30 points and 15 rebounds a game. George was an absolute monster on the boards over his career, so naturally, Dr. J and George decreased each other's averages by playing alongside one another. So with all of that being said, I think it's fair to say that Dr. J's numbers declining upon his arrival to the NBA had less to do with the level of competition increasing, and had more to do with less being required of him on a star-studded roster with decreased minutes. Over the next 7 years, Dr. J averaged 23.3 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 4.1 assists for the 76ers. Throughout that time, the 76ers were perennial NBA title contenders and had got extremely close to winning the championship multiple times. When George McGinnis was traded, Dr. J's numbers rose to his best season as a 76er, as he was needed more offensively and on the boards, as he averaged 27 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 52% shooting in only 36 minutes a game. The following season, he won the 1981 NBA MVP award, and the 76ers remained contenders. It wasn't until the 1982-83 season that the 76ers finally made the NBA their own. The 82-83 76ers are still considered one of the greatest teams in NBA history. It was their first year with a dominant big man in Moses Malone, and the tandem of Julius and Moses cruised through the NBA season on their way to a 65-17 record. In the playoffs, they went 12-1, which is tied for the fewest losses in NBA playoff history. During the dynasty days of the Lakers and Celtics of the 80s, these 1983 76ers were the only team to break through and interrupt their championship reign on the league. Moses Malone was definitely the best player on that Sixers team, but Dr. J definitely had a terrific impact and added to his already powerful legacy. So all in all, Dr. J had a marvelous career in both leagues. He was also a solid defender. I'm not going to make it sound like he was locking down people as if he was Scottie Pippen out there, but he was great at causing turnovers. For his career, he averaged 2 steals a game and a remarkable 1.7 blocks per game, which is extremely high for a 6'7" forward. He was not a great perimeter shooter, but he was all-time great athletically and was a terrific finisher who often dunked the ball when attacking the rim, but he also had an all-time great layup package. Dr. J doesn't have the benefit of accumulative statistics working in his favor on the all-time rankings. If ABA stats were factored into the NBA's all-time rankings, Dr. J would be the 8th leading scorer all-time, and he also would be second among small forwards behind only LeBron James. He was also extremely efficient while getting all of those buckets, shooting an impressive 50.6% over his career. Dr. J had it all. He was a pioneer of the game. He had the skills, the abilities, the accolades, and the championships. As far as where this puts him among the greatest small forwards of all time, I say LeBron and Bird are at the top, but third place, I've got to give it to the Doctor. I really think that he was that deserving and that he was that good. KD and Kawhi aren't quite on that level yet, but they're pretty close behind. Scottie Pippen and Elgin Baylor aren't too far off either. Enough of my opinions though. Let me know in the comments section where you think Julius Erving ranks among the greatest small forwards of all time. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.